One of the main reasons for moving to Panama was to get back to that indoor-outdoor lifestyle we enjoyed so much while living in Hawaii. It's not all unicorn and rainbows, though. There are some downsides. So here are our pros and cons for living in an open-air home. So, in an indoor-outdoor house, you feel the weather, whatever it may be. And in Panama, oftentimes, it's pretty hot. It can feel exhausting and make it difficult to kind of want to be motivated to do anything. And so many times on those hot days, I'll start by sticking my head in the freezer and just kind of open up the nasal passageways, breathe in the crisp air, and picture myself somewhere in the Alps. When I close it, the contrast from the cold of the freezer back to the warm mugginess of the room can feel like I'm entering into a steam room.
Luckily, it's not hot all the time. For me, most of the time, it's just really nice, warm. It starts with cooler mornings. Sometimes I even need to put on a sweater. During the day, just warm, but not too hot. But occasionally, there is like a really hot wave. I think we had most of March and April this year really hot. So that is really exhausting.
Yeah, sometimes the hot weather can come through for 2-3 days at a time and not really drop or lower in temperature again. So even at night, it can still feel a little bit warm. But if we're running the fans on full speed, it becomes tolerable.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
and you take showers or you jump into the pool.
We know that there are other areas in the mountains that you probably will never even have a hot day.
Yeah, there are some mountains where it's like really cold. We haven't been to like the coldest areas here in Panama yet, but I think you'll be probably in the sweater almost the whole time.
Personally, I would still prefer that myself, to be living in that climate year-round, but it would be at the sacrifice of being too far away from the beach.
Mm-hmm.
The beach is so great, and being able to, on a whim, just say, let's go to the beach, and to be there in 10 minutes, it's quite a luxury that maybe having that perfect temperature is worth sacrificing. A positive, though, is you get acclimated to the outdoor environment. So when you're going indoors, outdoors, you're not constantly breaking out into sweats and things like that.
Yeah, you don't have to switch going from lower humidity when you're in air-conditioned space into higher humidity outside. It just feels all natural.
Yeah, and another interesting thing, because you've become already accustomed to the hot weather, when the weather does get a little bit cooler in temperature, you'll feel it, and you can actually enjoy the slight subtle drops in temperature, and it can feel much more pleasant to you.
Yeah, that's right. Especially in dry season when the beautiful breeze comes through, that's just amazing.
Another pro to the weather and constantly having the outside weather inside your house is you can also just sit around all day in your swimsuit if you want. So in Panama, there's a lot of burning of green waste and garbage. And if you have an open air house, you bet that smoke can be coming right into your home. For us, we have had quite a few situations, especially over the dry season, where many of our neighbors around us were burning, and maybe 2 to 3 times a week, depending when people, I guess, were feeling like it. And there were a few times where we had to pretty much evacuate our house. We've noticed a couple of times by the smell that it smelled like there was something toxic being burned in there.
And like the closer you are to other people, the more this is likely to happen.
Now, the benefit of the smoke is sometimes when it's just burning green waste, it smells like a campfire. It's a little bit nostalgic, and if it's a little bit cooler in the air and the smell hits me just right, it takes me back to my childhood days. So if you like that kind of smell, you might actually enjoy the smoke. Living in an open-air house, you can bet that you hear everything going on outside.
Yes, sometimes the sound can come from quite far. There's a bar down the street from us where they like to party during the wet season. And once or twice during the last year, they had a party going on for about 36 hours. The music was blasting all the time. And we're kind of a little bit up the hill, so it was going right into our windows. And you just couldn't get a break from it. And, through the night, you're trying to sleep and you still hear the beat all the time. That was a lot.
And it's not just the bars. Panama in general, the people like to celebrate loudly.
Yes, they have the speakers in the car that they bring to the beach. That's what they love to do too.
It's not just music and people. You'll hear also animals, bugs, fruit. You're hearing fruit. We hear mangoes sometimes dropping in the middle of the night, and coconuts. Heavy pieces of fruit falling 30 feet down, hitting every branch and leaf on the way down as it thuds, in the middle of the night. It can be startling.
Yes, otherwise it's really nice. I love hearing all the birds. They have different calling songs or whatever they do. Usually I can tell when the morning is coming up, I start to hear them a little bit more. Sometimes I hear roosters a little bit farther from the house. So that's all what I like to hear, including the sound of the wind.
Yeah, there is one bird, though, that we didn't care for, and it's actually a bird that is nocturnal. So it's doing its calls and everything at night, and it's a nightjar bird. It happened to be kind of near our daughter's window, so it was starting up around 9 p.m. at night, and it would just keep this call going, like this really loud call, every 1 or 2 seconds. And for just hours. So eventually, we found out about it because our daughter came into our room, woke us up at night.
She was just screaming. She doesn't want to hear the sound anymore, and wouldn't want to take her hands off the ears. So you had to scare it away. Yeah, so eventually every night when it started up, I'd just go outside and grab a handful of gravel and just toss it into the direction, and the bird would eventually move. So besides the wonderful sounds of birds and insects that you hear, another positive note is that you can actually hear around the house. So for me, for security purposes, I like being able to hear everything going on around me. Another positive for sound is that if you've got a loud family like we do, 4 very noisy girls, and probably ourselves yelling at them every once in a while too, the sound is going to travel out of the house. So at least it's not becoming like an echo chamber inside and amplifying its already extreme loud noise. And yeah, they're very young, so that's how they play. Now, thankfully, our neighbors are a little bit away from us, so we don't feel like we're bothering anybody too much, and the lush jungle also kind of helps dampen sound. But I'm sure they hear a few child screams every once in a while. So you can bet there are bugs. And in our house, with having so many screened-in windows, they're not all fitting quite properly. And even if they were, it's just one of those things you have to deal with living in this type of environment with a house like this. And we've seen probably 80 different types of bugs, different species of bug, 1 or 2 here or there in the house. And then at times, certain bugs just come in masses. We have a lot of doors to like the outer space that is a part of our house. And those doors are not quite perfectly sealed around the edges. That's just how the house came with these doors. So we put some extra screens over it, but it still doesn't prevent everything getting in. So it's definitely better than before we did the precautions. But we still get mosquitoes and sometimes some spiders. Mostly they're friendly, They, I don't think we got bit by anything.
Nope.
Since
just
we moved
the flying
here.
bugs we've been bitten by many times. Those mosquitoes and the chitras, which are little flying, little sandflies, and they're smaller than mosquitoes, so they kind of can skate through the netting really easy, and it's almost impossible to keep them out. But
yeah, these that we have here, they're almost translucent, so you don't really see them even if they land on you. You can just feel that they're biting, and then you can like get them. But they leave a little red mark that can last up to a few days on the skin.
So, of course, with all the bugs making it into the house, that also brings the predators eating the bugs. So, like Sylvie mentioned, we've had plenty of spiders. And for the most part, the spiders are the huntsman spiders, or they're also called like wall crab spiders. There's two different main species, and those are the two we've had around here.
Yeah, then the geckos, the little lizards, they're cute, not very bothersome. We had a frog that kept coming to our porch.
Frogs and toads.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I call it all frog, but I guess there's a difference. I mean, I wouldn't mind the frog, but it leaves poop and pee on the porch every day, so I think we would have to relocate it.
Yeah, every morning it's come out and clean up after our house toad.
It hasn't come in the dry season, though. It's just back maybe the last 2-3 weeks. So, goodbye, toad.
Yep. Is there a pro for bugs? And I don't know if you can consider this one a pro. I do. But we get fireflies inside the house.
Yes.
So
little light show.
Kind of magical. You'll be laying down to go to sleep at night and you'll see a blink here or a blink there, and they're just kind of like fluttering around, and they're harmless little beetles, so nothing to worry about. Never had one of them fly into my face or anything, and yeah, it's just like fireflies in the house. Kind of neat.
So there's two main seasons in Panama, the dry season, the wet season. Dry season is pretty dry. It's around 60 to 70% humidity. So that's your standard European or West Coast USA humidity. I can have all of my clothes and shoes out, no problem. Once the wet season comes, I better seal it all off because, everything will catch mold pretty quickly. During wet season, it can be around 95% here, which is almost fully saturated air.
It'll go all the way to 100.
All the way to the 100, especially if it rains a little bit longer. And that causes the mold to grow sometimes within just a few hours or a day. Whereas in a drier environment could take a few months, So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, so the moisture definitely gets into the house. And yes, we've heard that you should close windows when it rains and open them, but all of our windows are the type that have the glass slats and like a little knob to turn them.
Yes, the louvered windows. So it's like the wooden shutters you would have. It's just they're from glass, so they're usually horizontally open, but you can close them. But it's just like you would have to go manually close each of the windows, which is just not doable. We have quite a lot of them.
Yeah, and each window has 2 or 3 of these sections. So by the time you do it, you'd spend 20 minutes closing all your windows in the house, and the rain would be done by then. Then you got to open it all back up because you want airflow, as much airflow as you can get to kind of help keep mold and things down.
Yeah, it just feels less stuffy too. And most of the rain here, it's more like a tropical downpour, so it's intense and short. Yeah. So really, by the time I would close the windows, maybe the rain is already done. So what's the point?
So obviously the downside of all that moisture is you're battling it inside the house, and you're trying to keep a lot of things from getting ruined. We've had shoes get ruined, clothes get ruined, furniture that's porous or cheap get ruined. I have to keep the electronics in a dehumidifying cabinet. My guitar swelled up, so now we've designated a room with a dehumidifier running on automatic all the time to try to keep things dry. That's one of the downsides, is you definitely have to be taking every precaution you can to take care of your things and just keep the atmosphere inside the house healthy.
On the other side, high humidity is really nice for the skin. The skin just, it's like a fresh injection, of youth and moisture into the skin. So that's really nice.
Yeah, and another pro about the moisture is it makes everything green again. So during the dry season, things kind of get brown and dry out, which we also love because it has more color variety. And then in the wet season with all the moisture, everything gets green and lush again. So nice to see that. Another thing is having our open air home is that half of it is technically outdoors, and that would be the dining area and the kitchen area and then a small seating area.
Yes, it's all covered under roof. It's just fully open from 3 sides. The outdoor kitchen is really nice. I love not to have to worry about getting the house even more heated while cooking and baking. It's all out. It also helps to keep some of the bugs out. We still have fridge and washer inside, but everything that is like preparing food is only outside. On the other hand, during Christmas time when we were baking cookies, we made some gingerbread cookies, and the molasses was, I guess, very fragrant and attractive, and it brought a whole bunch of these stingless bees. There was probably 400 or 500 of them swirling around us, trying to get the cookies, eat every little piece that maybe fell off. So I was trying to save the cookies, wipe the counters to get the bees to leave. So none of them stung me because they're stingless, but it was still kind of crazy. So after a little break, we're back. I had to go feed the baby. So this is our new guest here. She hasn't been feeling good today, so there's no way we're finishing the video without me holding her.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She let you know.
Her name is Belle. All right. On the downside, sometimes when I'm cooking dinner, it's already the mosquito time and they're around. So many times I resort either cooking earlier or just preparing something easier inside the house.
Yeah, and then with those mosquitoes at the times of our meals, of course, we find ourselves coming indoors for dinner most of the time, and there's no table inside, so we kind of resorted to sitting on the floor.
Picnic style.
Yeah, picnic style. So obviously a positive of eating outside and having your kitchen outside is it's almost like camping all the time, it just feels really nice. You're getting the weather and the breeze and things like that, and a lot of times swatting off little wasps while we're eating.
They're just, you're enjoying the nice views while you eat. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. So similarly, I have an outdoor workout area with a squat rack and a few weights like that. And it can get so hot that it's just exhausting and unmotivating, and having to be dependent on weather can be a little bit of a bummer sometimes. Also, those hours that I like to work out, a lot of times have mosquitoes because those are the coolest times of the day. So I'll be using mosquito repellent during workouts and things like that. On the positive, it can be absolutely epic with the weather while working out. I mean, an outdoor gym is kind of like the dream, so
I like it.
Yeah, afternoon storms will roll through and I could be doing some deadlifts with freaking lightning bolts going off and thunder and wild breeze and rain coming through. And then in between sets, walk out into the rain and just feel it on my face. I mean, can't get better than that. Feeling like we're connected to nature 24/7 just outweighs all of the downsides. And we knew that ahead of time coming into this, like we mentioned before with our time spent in Hawaii. So we don't have any regrets.
Yes, overall, I love it. I wouldn't want to go back to living enclosed in a cubicle. It just feels like I'm isolated from the life. And this just feels like you're so much more connected to the nature. You're out there in the world with everything that's around you. I mean, you don't have to go to nature because you live in nature while you're still in the comfort of your own house.
All right. And Belle says that means our time is done. So,
maybe I'll leave and I'll let Bryan to.
no, don't you leave. Everyone loves to see a beautiful, my beautiful wife here and a cute little daughter. That's
Baby.
nobody wants to
Look at
just
this.
look at me.
Look at this.
And we're going to get out of here and be posting some more soon. So stay on the lookout. We've got another big video on the way.
Goodbye.